Covalent Bond's first hero act. Short story. This is the story of how Karina White became the superhero Covalent Bonds. It all started when the black dust creature destroyed 70% of the world's population, so her world was desperate for life. Everybody that survived was either broken, or trying to figure out how they was go to survive with only 30% of the world's population. Days and days went on before anything happened. People heard a strange noise, so the people was trying to find where that sound was coming from. Some people was already distraught about the black dust event, so some of the people gathered up their courage, and went to go check on the noise. When they got there they found that noise was the ancient ruins. The ruins was constantly spinning crazy in circles. The people didn't know what to do. The ruins never did this before. The ruins just kept spinning in circles. It was getting crazier and crazier until the ruins lit up with a light, and then the ruins blew up, and everybody around the ruins quickly got engulfed in flames. Everybody on Earth was panicking because when the ruins blew up it made a huge earthquake that shocked the world. The ruins caused flames that was spreading across the world, engulfing everybody. People thought it was the end of the world. Earth was covered in a thick light of flames that was glowing bright. The Earth looked like the sun far into the universe. This lasted for a few minutes, then the flames from the ruins dissipated, and revealed the Earth unharmed. It looked like the end in the eyes of the people, but everybody risen from the flames unharmed. Everybody on Earth was standing still for a moment trying to comprehend about what just happened. The world still was covered in a thick fog from the flames. A few moments later the fog started to dissipate, and people started to see again. People was looking around at each other, and noticed new faces. The people on Earth before the ruins blew up were scared because there were new faces around. The people that came after the ruins blew up said they don't know how they got here, and they asked what was this place, and how did they get here. The people that came after realized their planet blew up because of their ruins, so more people came forward, and said they ruins also blew up. Then even more people came up, and said they ruins blew up too. They all found out that 5 to 6 Earth in different dimensions got destroyed, and came to this Earth, so the population massively grew, and the world living population was at 10 billion. The people started to learn how to live with one another because the people that arrived after figure they couldn't go back home. They accepted this world as their home, and their worlds was destroyed, so they stayed, and got along with each other. Life was moving on, people was getting their lives together, and the world was getting back on track. A few months passed, and life in the world was finally normal as it can be for the people on Earth. One day it started raining black. The people after asked why is this planet raining black, so the people before said before you came we had event happen where someone was messing with something they wasn't supposed to, and they created the black elixir cloud. The people before told the people after about the effects of the black elixir cloud, and how it can give you powers. The people before told them how the black elixir cloud dissipates, and comes back like the rain, so people got on with their lives, until living on Earth became normal. That's when Covalent Bond's story begins. Karina White got up one morning to get ready to teach her daycare kids. She loved kids to death, even thinking about having a child one day, so Karina got up, and got ready to go to work. Karina already had her powers. In fact, she was one of the people who helped defeat the black dust creature, but today was the day she became known as a superhero. Karina was going to work when a building caught on fire. Karina stopped her car, and got out. She heard voices screaming, "Please help us," so her kind heart kicked in, and she went into the burning building with no hesitation. Karina saw nothing but a hallway, and doors. Karina started breaking down doors one by one. She was taking everybody that was stuck behind their door, and bringing them to safety. Karina eventually got everybody out of the burning building. They told Karina, "Thank you for saving us." Karina said her job wasn't done, so she turned around, and put out the flames on the building with her water powers. Everybody was cheering, and crying, saying Karina saved the day. The news came to try to do an interview with Karina. The news wanted to know about her, but Karina looked at her watch, and saw she was late for work, so Karina quickly left without telling the news her name, so the news called her Water Woman. The news put her on TV that night. Water Woman was a sensational hit. Everybody loved her, but one, and her name was Brittany. She was Miss America, and as she was at home looking at the news, Brittany heard one of the news reporters say Water Woman is the new favorite woman in this city, even more loved than Ms. America Brittany. So when Brittany heard the news reporter say that, her heart stopped, and she squeezed her hand around her wine glass so hard that it broke. Karina was looking at the news that night too. She was thrilled about the name the news gave her. Karina thought hard and long about being a superhero. She came to the conclusion that she was going to be a superhero. Karina did some research and found a nice swimsuit that covered her whole entire body, but her face. Karina's superhero suit looked basic, so that made her look like a novice in the eyes of a criminal. Karina was putting a stop to the basic criminals like bank robbers, muggers, and people assaulting other people. The news kept putting her on television, and people kept loving Water Woman. She was the best thing since gold. Karina still haven't came up with a name yet. She was content with the name the news gave her. Brittany was furious at this point. News kept talking about Water Woman, that Brittany's Ms. America title was being destroyed by Water Woman. Brittany had enough, so she came up with a plan to put her back into the eyes of America. Brittany tried to give to the poor. She helped out at the homeless shelter, and many other things, but it still wasn't enough. So Brittany decided to take down Water Woman. Brittany was making deals with well-known criminals, like mob bosses and murderers. One day when Karina was doing her heroic duties, she came across a man that claimed he needed help. Karina asked him what was the problem, and the man said, "My wife is stuck in a burning car." Karina said, "Where at?" The man said, "Follow me." So Karina followed him, and he led her into a dark alley. As Karina was approaching the alley, she felt like something was wrong. The man turned around and pulled his gun out at Karina. Karina asked the man, "Why are you trying to kill me?" The man said, "You have a bounty on your head. Water Woman, you are worth a lot of money dead." So Karina quickly launched a water blast at the man, knocking him back and knocking him unconscious. Karina brought the man by to the police station, and told him that someone put a hit out on her head. The cops said, "Who would want you dead?" Karina said, "I stopped a lot of crimes, so I don't know who would want me dead." The cop told Water Woman that they would handle it, and if they got any information on the case we will let you know. Karina said, "Okay," and took off. The next day the news had put Water Woman on television talking about the hit on her. Everybody was feeling for Water Woman. Brittany's plan backfired on her. The people really loved Water Woman even more now. Brittany was broken because she was used to all the attention from America, so Brittany needed some attention from her butler. His name is Ryan. He told Brittany, "Why you won't take care of Water Woman yourself?" Brittany said, "If I kill Water Woman everybody would hate me." Then Rain said, "Use a supervillain suit and a name." Brittany said, that was a good idea, so she did a little thinking with her butler Rain, and they came up with the name Photosynthesis because of her powers she was hiding from the public the whole time. Brittany has the power to manipulate and control oxygen, air, sunlight, solar energy, fire, plant life, wind, and more powers. Brittany hadn't used her powers in a long time, so she had to sit in the sunlight to absorb the solar energy into her body. Rain saw that Brittany's skin was becoming immaculate again, like she used to be. Rain didn't know why Brittany always stayed beautiful. Brittany told Rain, "When I don't have enough sunlight my skin gets real terrible, so that's why I never let you see me at night." Rain said, "Okay, I still think you are the most beautiful woman in the world." Brittany said, "Thank you, you was always kind to me, and if I could get the rest of the world to think that too I would be the happiest woman in the world." Rain went to secretly work on something for Brittany. The next day the government had a problem. The government couldn't get their soldiers out of a war they was destined to lose. The government was trying to figure out what to do. Nobody had any idea. One man, his name was Nathan. He was a scientist that also built amusement rides for kids, such as the Gravitron ride. Nathan asked the government can he use their drone for an idea. The government said, "What are you planning to do with our drone?" Nathan said, "Just trust me." So Nathan Jimmy rigged the drone up with the technology he used for the Gravitron rides. The government flew the drone over across seas, and bombed the war. They looked at Nathan, and Nathan said, "Wait for it." Boom. There it is. Next you know is everybody was stuck in place. Nathan got on the cons, and said to the soldiers, "You guys should have wristbands that the drone release. The wristbands should be somewhere around you." The soldier replied back to Nathan that they see the wristbands, but they can't move. Nathan said, "That's okay, just try to reach the wristbands." The soldiers said, "We got it, sir." Nathan said, "Put the wristbands on, it will help you move, for you can get away safely." The government started cheering and thanking Nathan for his help. The soldiers left the war safely, and left the overseas people stuck to the ground into the gravitron bomb were off. Nathan went home after the party settled down. He got home that night, and wished his wife and 2 daughters good night. So the next day Nathan woke up to his wife and kids and said good morning to them. They replied back, and said, "Good morning," too. So Nathan went to work on a new version of an amusement ride called the Gravitron. He got a call from a high-ranking man in the government. The man told Nathan that he wanted that technology he used to save them soldiers at war. Nathan said, "No, I only build technology for kids." Man said, "That's too bad. By the way, how are your wife and kids? How less fortunate it is for you. I'll send my condolences to you." Before the man quickly hanged up, Nathan said, "You wait, don't hang up the phone on me. You leave my wife and kids out of this." Nathan rushed home to his wife and kids, but they was nowhere to be found. Nathan was panicking and pacing around the house until he found a note stating that his wife and kids went to the store. Nathan felt relieved and called his wife. She answered the phone and said, "Hello honey, are you all right? Why are you home from work so early?" "I just got done going grocery shopping. We are at a stoplight right now, and I will see you when I get home." Nathan said, "All right honey, I will see you when you get here." As soon as Nathan said that, the light turned green, and his wife drove off, and another car hit them from the side, flipping the car over and killing Nathan's family instantly. The only thing you heard was Nathan saying no in a crying voice. Nathan went to the crash site. The cops had the area surrounded. Nathan said, "Let me through, that's my wife and kids." The cops said, "Their bodies wasn't here." Nathan said, "What do you mean?" The cops said, "We saw the people in the car that hit them get out the car and take the dead bodies with them. We tried to catch them, but they were too fast." Nathan broke down on his knees and started crying. Days and days went past. The only thing Nathan can think about was his wife and kids. Nathan brought a gun and plotted an attack on the man that was a high-rank government officer. Nathan knew who he was because he heard his voice on the phone, and remember that man was at the party. So Nathan ended up getting enough courage to go face the man who had his wife and kids killed. Nathan found the man at a public bathroom at the carnival, and the man was there with his family. He had 2 boys and his wife there. When Nathan met him in the bathroom, Nathan made sure he was alone and pulled out a gun, and the high-ranking officer for the government said, "You don't have enough balls to shoot me." So Nathan broke down and started crying again. The man said, "Stay out my way, you piece of garbage, or I will kill you next." So the man walked away and left Nathan in the bathroom crying alone. Nathan eventually got up and walked home to think about killing himself. Nathan just wanted the pain to end. Nathan thought of a second plan because he knew he wasn't strong enough to kill someone in cold blood. So Nathan started taking steroids to make his mind complex and crazy to the point that he could lash out and kill anyone he wish. So as soon as Nathan got the nerve to kill the high-ranking officer for the government, the man went into hiding. The worst part of it all, nobody knew this man's name because he was so high in the government that they never released his name. So Nathan ended up losing the man. He was so frustrated that he was tearing everything up in sight. That's when the black elixir cloud rained down on Nathan, giving him the power of the technology he was so familiar with. The gravitron gave Nathan powers and gained the ability to manipulate gravity, also making him super strong and invulnerable. Nathan went after all the low-ranking officers for the government. Nathan first started his attack with a guy from the government security. Nathan said, "You are of some importance because if you wasn't, you wouldn't have been at the government party." The guy said, "I don't know anything, I'm just a small fry." Nathan said, "I understand, I was just a small fry too." So Nathan used his powers and made the guy float up to the air about 40 feet up in the air, and released him, letting him drop to this death. Right before the guy got released, he was pleading to Nathan, saying, "Please don't kill me, let me go," crying away. So Nathan let him go, and the guy started screaming to his death. A cop heard the commotion and went to go check on the situation, and found Nathan standing over a man's dead body. Nathan was deciding if he wanted to use his powers on the cop. Nathan decided not to use his powers to crush the cop. The cop saw the hesitation in Nathan's eyes, so the cop decided to take a chance and shoot Nathan. The cop shot Nathan in the arm, but he was invulnerable. The bullet bounced off of Nathan, and the cop ran for his life. The cop went to his police station and told his boss about what happened and what just took place. So later that day the news got a hold of that information and asked Water Woman to help take this madman off the street. The news showed a picture of Nathan. Later on, Nathan, Brittany, and Karina was looking at the news that night. Nathan realized he needed a suit to hide his identity, for nobody would recognize him, but it was already too late. The news put his name out there for everybody can see. The news had very little information about Nathan and why he was killing everyone. The news reporter said, "Please, Water Woman, take this madman off the street before it's too late. From your true fan, Melanie." Brittany was listening to the TV and found her next deal. Karina got up off the couch and put on her superhero suit to go find Nathan. Nathan finally made him a very advanced suit. He called himself Gravitron. Gravitron went out to find the man that killed his family, so Gravitron thought of an idea that he could do. He used the news reporter Melanie to get his point across. Gravitron came to the middle of downtown and just stood there. Gravitron used his powers to lift everybody up in the air slowly, one by one, lifting everything including buses, cars, and everything down to the rocks and pebbles. One man in the air was calling his wife to tell her he loved her, and that he wasn't going to make it home for dinner. His wife said, "Why?" He said, "Honey, turn on the news." His wife said, "Oh my God," and immediately started crying, saying, "Please don't leave me, Gerald." Karina eventually came to the rescue. Everyone was screaming, "Please save us, Water Woman." The news had the cameras pointed on Water Woman and Gravitron. Karina asked Nathan, "Why are you doing this?" Nathan said, "I'm doing this for my family." Karina said, "What do you mean?" Nathan said, "The government killed my family and the man that's behind it went into hiding." Karina said, "I will help you find him, but please just put everybody down safely." Gravitron said, "That's funny how you jumped to save these people, but where were you when my family needed you the most? You let them die, so your word means nothing to me now." Karina said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know, but I promise I will help you find them." Gravitron said, "Just to let you know, they killed my family and took their bodies away, so I couldn't give them a proper burial." Karina started to cry, and Gravitron saw that, so he slowly released everyone one by one until everybody was safe. Karina thanked Nathan, and before he could ask for her help, the cops shot Nathan with a taser gun that was able to go through his suit, shocking him until he fell to the ground. Karina was trying to tell the cops to hold on. She needed to speak to Gravitron, but the people was holding her and stopping her from talking to Gravitron. The news put Water Woman on the television again, saying how she is the #1 woman in America. Brittany had enough. She put on her supervillain suit and took off to find Gravitron. Karina tracked down the news reporter named Melanie and told her that she needed her help with trying to find Gravitron's family. Melanie said, "Okay, yes, I would do anything to help you save the day." Karina said, "Thank you, Melanie," and Melanie said, "No problem, I will let you know when I find something." So Brittany saw the police driving Gravitron in back of a police car and knocked the police car on its side. Brittany opened up the door and grabbed Gravitron out of the car. Gravitron asked, "Who are you?" Brittany replied, "I am Photosynthesis." Gravitron said, "What do you want?" Photosynthesis said, "I want to help you if you can help me." Gravitron said, "How could you possibly help me?" Photosynthesis said, "I know the guy you're looking for, I know his name and where he's at right now." And Photosynthesis showed Gravitron a picture of the man he was looking for. Gravitron asked, "What do you need me to do?" Photosynthesis said, "I need you to take out Water Woman." So the next day Melanie called Karina and told her she found Gravitron's family and where they're at. Karina was happy that she could tell Gravitron that they found his family, so Melanie got on the news and said, "Gravitron, meet Water Woman downtown today at 6 p.m. Brittany was smiling because she finally thought she was about to get rid of Water Woman, so Gravitron waited on Karina to come. Karina had no clue that this meeting was an ambush, so when Karina got there she got hit from behind her by Photosynthesis. Karina asked Gravitron, "Why are you doing this?" And Photosynthesis said, "I gave him something you couldn't." Karina said, "Who are you?" Photosynthesis said, "I'm the one that put a hit out on you." Karina said, "Why?" Photosynthesis said, Why you made my life a living hell ever since you came about, everything been about you, in the angriest voice ever. So Karina summoned strength from deep down within, and released a powerful water blast that sent photosynthesis flying through the sky. Karina told Gravitron they found this family, and told him to come will her to get them. Gravitron asked Karina to give him a minute to be alone. By that time photosynthesis woke up, and find a man who was nagging in her face telling her how she is going to jail. So photosynthesis hit him in the head and sent him flying in the sky towards Gravitron. Gravitron saw him in the sky, and caught him in midair. It was the man who had his family killed. The man was pleading, asking for forgiveness, and he lifted him in the air about 60 feet in the air. The man knew it was all over, and Gravitron released him, and the man fell to his death. So later that day Gravitron went to go see Karina, and they met up with Melanie too, and they found his family. They located Gravitron's family at a government warehouse. So Gravitron said, "Thank you both." While he was crying, Gravitron properly gave his family the burial they deserve. Karina had one more news report on television to say to all her fans. Melanie said, "Let's do it." So Karina said her official superhero name is Covalent Bonds, so no more Water Woman name anymore. Brittany was at home looking at the news in the darkness. She quoted to herself that "I will get you covalent bonds." Then her butler walked in her room to give her a special necklace that can harvest the sun's solar energy, for Brittany can draw on the necklace energy. Rain gave the necklace to Brittany, and when Brittany put it on, Ryan saw her turn beautiful right before his eyes. Brittany said, "Thank you for this gift." Ryan said, "Now you can go outside at night time because you can take the solar energy from your necklace." Brittany went for a walk that night, and didn't have to worry about her dying skin since she now had the necklace with solar energy. So later that night Covalent Bonds came across a new enemy, a man that called himself Virus, and met a new friend also. She was a scientist, and she inherited a lab from her grandfather. Her name is Maggie. Maggie let Covalent Bonds use her lab as a hideout.